Test 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. Oh baby. Finally getting down to it. Alright folks, welcome to the Bizzles playthrough. Long awaited by me. Sort of kept for a rainy day, back pocket kind of thing. Homeworld, Deserts of Kharak. Now, the original Homeworld games were revolutionary on a million levels. Let me just get the facts in front of me here super fast. In case you're totally new to this and you just follow me because I do real-time strategy, like a lot of StarCraft, obviously. So the original Homeworld came out as a real-time strategy game developed by Relic Entertainment and published by Sierra Studios. Sierra Online, amazing. 1999 for Microsoft Windows. Set in space, the original Homeworld follows the Kushan exiles of the planet Kharak, which is where this prequel game, which came much later, takes place on the planet after their home planet is destroyed by the Taiidan Empire in retaliation for developing hyperspace jump technology. The survivors journey with their spacecraft, constructing a mothership to reclaim their ancient homeworld of Higara from the Taiidan, encountering pirates, mercenaries, traders, rebels. Meanwhile, you gather resources, you build a fleet, destroy enemy ships, and accomplish mission objectives. But what was, in addition to the stop-start mechanic, which made it sort of part real-time strategy, but with a pause, so it had some turn-based aspects as well in terms of being able to plan out. It was the highest rated computer game of '99, sold over 500,000 in 6 months. But the real revolutionary thing about it was after Warcraft 2 was awesome and the Command and Conquer early games were awesome, and then StarCraft changed everything for real-time strategy, but it's still essentially a 2D game. I mean, there's different levels of, terrain, high ground, low ground type stuff, but if you were gonna do a real in-space simulator, you were gonna have to figure out how to go not just along the ecliptic of the galaxy, the main plane, but to the sort of to the poles above and below the ecliptic that make it truly three-dimensional, so that when you are ordering a ship to go forward, we're also going to make it go quote-unquote up or down in relation to the plane of the ecliptic. It's a much different paced game than the Warcraft, StarCraft, Command & Conquer games. It's not that it's slow, because at times you do have to make fast decisions and you are producing a lot. It's more macro focused. It's not that you don't do any micro, but it's more about what units you produce and when you unleash them, where and when. But it was such a cool idea that you would have this giant mothership. Hold on one sec. And it actually can't move. It can jump. It can make long jumps in space when it's safe. but it actually can't move and it can't fight. No, in this prequel game, Deserts of Kharak, the giant desert crawler carrier thing can tank and can deal damage, but you're still building units on the go in a real time situation. Well, we deal with ground units here and not space units. It still has a sort of rock paper scissors advanced control, not control scheme, dynamic in terms of, light, medium, heavy units, and it kind of simplifies it by giving you a good amount of units, but they're generally good against one or two types and really bad against the others, and get destroyed by at least one or two other types, and it's never the same one. So you do have to use different units for different situations depending on the composition of the enemy. While you don't have the 3 dimensions of space here, it's actually more interesting because you have beautiful terrain, as you're gonna see. Quick side note, it's not just that this came out in 2015, much later, and even on a small budget, just looks better, looks modern, but being in desert and other cool Earth climates, with near future technology, but with things on wheels, you do get strikecraft and stuff, but there's just something so visceral, and actually terrain plays a huge role. It's if you've played the BattleTech turn-based strategy game with the mech warriors, or other turn-based, it's usually turn-based games, where there's definitive buffs to attack, accuracy and damage from high to low ground, and depending on visibility, you can use smoke bombs, as we'll say, different stuff that you can do, and the angles of attack are really important. The Homeworld games, there were bad guy ships, your ships, the good guy ships, and then neutral, or you're not sure. But you're not regularly flying through asteroid belts, or areas of space that have kind of terrain, other obstacles and so forth. So while being able to zoom out and see your little chunk of the galaxy, that zoom in into the combat zone in the extended area, your giant mothership, and then of course again being able to do truly 3-dimensional movement with your ships, as you gathered resources, but you're also attacking at the same time. It's a very realistic scenario, actually. It's such a realistic scenario. It's such a cool scenario, because again, it's basically like leaving Earth, or you're leaving your home planet, and all of humanity is in one giant ship. Wow, that sounds familiar. Yep, sounds just like Battlestar Galactica. And while there was a follow-up with Homeworld Cataclysm in 2000, and then Homeworld 2 in 2003. I'm not sure what the story is for the second one. If you manage to get home, or you do get to your ancient home world. So so it's basically end of Battlestar, and then the battles continue. So that's Cataclysm, which takes place 15 years after. Homeworld 2. Let's see. Takes place. Right. So you've got the mothership, but if it does get destroyed, it's an immediate game over. Yeah. It's capable of constructing all but the very largest ships, which must be built using shipyards. And again, you have small to large size starships, which, you know, small sometimes do well against certain large ones, and medium counters small, large counters medium, etc., etc., etc. As we're gonna see connected, without going into too much lore, the Cushion race, which I believe is us, discovers the wreckage of an interstellar transport ship in the desert, in a sort of near post-apocalyptic scenario, with an ancient hyperspace core and a galactic map toward their long-lost homeworld, and they managed to get 600,000 people off on the mothership and find their ancient homeworlds. So this game is a direct prequel, in that things are getting really bad on the planet, but a couple smart good guys hear rumors about that deep in the desert is this wreckage of a ship called the Kartoba, which might have, have some things that could help them escape the planet. The Sajuuk family, S''JET, sort of dominates the lore, and your science officer and sort of lead hero, really lead character in this game is Rachel Sajuuk, so some ancestor. But anyways, they were very brainy and very difficult games that didn't have, you might suck at, StarCraft or, Warcraft 2 or 3 or something, but you can at least get some thrills with the high speeds, just the high speed of the game, the high velocity, and then you can play multiplayer, with other people who maybe also aren't good, and it's just fun and fast and action-packed. This game is faster than the original Homeworlds that take place in space, but there's still a sort of measured rhythm to it. And the game, unlike StarCraft, where in both single player and like co-op and various multiplayer, but if you just take the single player campaigns in StarCraft, it's just constant crisis. It's just crisis after crisis after crisis. You don't really ever have time to get a full economy going or think too much about base placement or unit composition, because usually it's like they're introducing a new unit and you use that one for that mission. And this game has a little bit of that, where it's sort of tutorializing throughout, introducing a new unit or new dynamic or logistic, with each mission or submission. But that being said, this is a game where you can, you're not always on the clock, and it triggers events when you physically move to certain places, that, I've watched some playthroughs of this, or partial playthroughs, and so the key is to, listen to the dialogue, see what your mission is, and then see if there's any exploration, resource collection, scouting, and other interactions, so forth, you can do before triggering the main events of the missions. So, similar to at least one of the co-op units in StarCraft's co-op multiplayer, but it was originally the big thing with the mothership in Homeworld. In here you'll see with the desert carrier. That's not what's on screen. This is Rachel Sajuuk's, the science officer's, enhanced dune buggy science vehicle or whatever. The desert carrier is so glorious, and you would think an aircraft carrier on treads and wheels in the desert. It makes no sense, but it actually makes amazing sense when you see the scenario that they're under, where it really has to be big enough and tanky enough to survive long enough to produce both a bunch of ground units and air units and anti-air stuff and so forth. The missions, because of this design, the sort of rock paper scissors of A beats C beats A beats B beats C beats D beats A or B, but gets crushed by D and C, etc., etc., etc. And you have a good amount of units, but it's not like the end of a StarCraft campaign or the multiplayer or something like that, or Command and Conquer, where you just have a ridiculous amount of units. The stakes slowly ramp up in these missions, and you get slowly more powerful units, or the capacity for more research. You're also conducting research. And so in addition to the 3D space thing, and it was just beautiful, and all the other innovations that the Homeworld games introduced in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was also the notion that everything's centered around your mothership, or here the carrier, and then because this game is more kinetic, and this is really like Mad Max the game. You'll see with all the things racing around on the dunes and so forth, shooting at each other and stuff blowing up. When it gets really chaotic and it's like action movie chase scenes, it feels like Mad Max a little bit with those chase scenes. But it's really an even balance of production and research, as well as the more micro elements of doing combat and so forth and so on. So I should have a picture of the mothership to hand. Well, I'll spoil a look at the carrier. Yeah, where is the mothership? I'm sure I have it. I know I got the mothership. Where's the mothership? Interesting. There's Homeworld photos. There's in games pick, Homeworld pics. Okay, there's a few at least. Alright, so none of these really gives you the scale of the mothership, because you kind of have to see it in action from the original Homeworld games. But here's you can see all these other ships, some of which are quite sizable, next to the mothership. Here's a mothership next to the planet. Obviously, it's not as big as the planet, but it is extremely big. There's another shot of it there. And in this game, whoops. Man. There we go. There's a shot of the carrier. Again, just sort of teasing the size of it and so forth. So I've seen the playthroughs of this. I've done the first few missions. I've done the tutorial. It's, not nearly of the level of campaign and lore and story and character composition as StarCraft games. And it's not nearly as just straight up fun and kinetic and crazy and weird and funny and corny and in fun ways like Command and Conquer is. But it's quite beautiful for a game that, yes, it's Gearbox software, but this was a prequel much past the original games, and I don't think they had done the remastered yet. Okay, so they released this around the remastered, right? So the remastered came out February 2015. Yeah, and then Kharak came out January 20th, 2016. So there was such a great response to the Homeworld remaster, which does look great, but it still has the clunky interface of the original. It would almost be hard to improve that a lot without really changing the game, because that was sort of part of the charm. It was not intuitive whatsoever, really. Where the buttons were, what they looked like, were they labeled, was there help functions, etc., blah blah blah. So in this game, they're able to bring it up to 2016, which is, after the first two, or really all three. I guess it was 2016 Legacy of the Void? Yeah. So the same year that the third and final major campaign and DLC expansion, Legacy of the Void, came out in 2016. That they're still using in multiplayer today, and the things that are introduced there. This game is a really refreshing, different take on the real-time strategy genre, on a much lower budget, but definitely was it was made because of, specifically to reward and play to, just fan love of the original game. So there's not a lot of hotkeys in this one. I have printouts as usual, but in terms of trying to micro my units, one thing that Homeworld does, as you'll see that happens here, is you can do a move attack to just a specific location, but what's much more realistic, especially with this sort of high tech, scenario, is you can set a range within which to attack and engage anything that you come across, and so forth. Or like if you're sending strike bombers in, you set an expanding radius, and you'll see on screen, and it also will reflect, within the circle, the colors, and it's a dotted line, a straight line, indicating line of sight and different terrains and so forth and so on. So it's really more about spending a lot of time in the tactical map, which, let's see, tactical overlays, alts. What's just straight let's see. You can do formations, which is cool. Focus on unit is F. Carrier. So what jumps out to the tactical overlay? I guess we just check the options and see if it's there. Is it just a spacebar or something? Okay, so the key is idle salvagers F3. So that's one key thing. Waypoints, rally points, tactical overlays. That says overlays, though. I don't know if that is just the overlay. There's some key that just takes you, that just pulls you right into the like wireframey CIC kind of mode. Sensor manager. Yeah, I think it's so tactical overlay is control or alt. Sensor manager is space, which is what I thought it was. So yeah, so this will be a really interesting game. It's not super long. I'm gonna try it on normal. You know, watching the speed and skill in the replays that I've seen of this, it doesn't seem that hard, especially if you're stopping and starting. Actually, can you stop and start this one? I forget. It's possible that this is one that you don't stop and start. I thought this had a timing mechanism. I thought this had a timing mechanism. Let's see. Tactical view. Groups panels, game menu. That's right, sensor manager, right. That's the space bar. That's the tactical view. Color coded. Terrain overlay. Alright, blue is for areas above your units, orange for below your units, dark blue, same altitude. Alright, so maybe this doesn't have a timer on it. I thought this maybe had a stop-start timer. It's better this way. It's definitely much better this way. No reason to stop and start. It's already at a pretty, not casual pace, but at a sort of deliberate pace, I guess you would say. Alright, just checking a few things here. Just for the record, Homeworld 2 did well review-wise, I think. Let's see. I thought it was received excellently. Homeworld 2 review. Well, not by everyone. GameSpot liked it. IGN liked it. Oh, this is for the remastered. Yeah. I think maybe. Yeah. By the time Homeworld 2 came after two other Homeworld games, 2003, the lack of improvement to the interface was probably seen as a little clunky. And you know, if you know what you're doing and you go fast, none of these campaigns are particularly long. But that's just gonna, you know, be the case. So of course, Sierra Online would famously go up in flames for reasons that aren't still totally clear. And Relic would go on to do Dawn of War, which is like considered to be the maybe one and only great Warhammer 40,000 strategy game. Company of Heroes, another classic. Company of Heroes 2. And more recently, Relic behind Age of Empires 4, which was received well and was very cool for what it was. And another Company of Heroes is coming out, so that's awesome. So it was interesting coming together of fading Supernova and Sierra Online, and up and coming star in Relic. Alrighty. Let's see how the stream is doing. So yeah, I think just because you want to get the whole intro. Okay, do I have to do the tutorial to get the story? Well, I guess we'll try it. We'll see what happens. Loading. Alright. This looks like not the main intro.
In this tutorial, you'll learn the basics of how to play.
I think I know the basics of how to play. But we could speedrun the tutorial anyways.
Objectives are displayed on the left. These are your gameplay goals.
Alright, gameplay goals.
Select a unit by left-clicking or dragging a selection box around the unit.
Destination set.
Left-click and hold to drag a selection box around several units.
Push up to that point.
Move selected units by clicking the right mouse button on a position.
Here setting,
Location marked.
let's see if they go all the way around the mulberry bush. Is there a patrol? There's a guard. We're gonna make him go all the way around. Alright.
Strike confirms.
So here's their stats. It's actually really quite awesome, as you'll say, how simplified this interface is. This is really a real-time strategy game that almost anyone could play.
Hold shift when issuing commands to queue them.
Boom, boom. Can I speed up? No. There we go. It's not even letting me zoom in yet.
Next, you'll learn how
We'll
to control
speedrun
the game
this.
camera.
There we go.
Scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in and out.
I love with the right mouse
Hold
button.
the right mouse button and move the mouse to rotate and pitch the camera. Try this now. Press backspace to reset the camera to its default orientation.
Boom.
Panning
Look
the
how
camera
good this
is
looks.
just as easy.
Pan the
Press
camera.
the arrow keys on your keyboard,
There's the.
or hold down the middle mouse button and move the mouse.
Oh, you can just
Information
hold.
about
Yeah, this
selected
is so
units
easy
is
to
displayed
use.
in the bottom left.
The camera's
Command
amazing.
buttons like attack and move are displayed in the bottom right.
Strike confirmed.
This is a command carrier.
There's our carrier.
Produces units for combat and resourcing.
There's the command carrier.
is your mobile headquarters. Durable,
Awesome.
lightly armed.
Here we go.
You can press the home or tilde key to select your carrier at any time.
Home or tilde
Go for
key.
carrier.
Tilde key for sure.
Move the carrier to the marked position.
Alright, attack move.
Press the F key. To
See,
focus
look,
the
so
game
you can
camera
see the
on
attack
selected
move is a
units.
radius.
The camera will follow focused
cool.
units while still allowing you to zoom and rotate. Pan the camera in any direction to break focus.
Strike craft ready. Copy. Moving to guard position.
Press the spacebar to open the sensors manager.
Boom, here we go. This is the cool thing from the original.
You can select and move units within the sensors manager.
Right.
Red icons represent enemy units.
There's the enemy units.
White icons represent your units. Your selected units are green.
Selected units are green, okay.
Orange and blue triangles represent resources.
Alright, resources. This
Blue
is key.
domes represent the sensor range or vision of your
Blue
units.
dome sensor range.
Enemy units within contact range are marked with a red circle. As your
Okay.
units get closer, they'll be in sensor range.
So
of the
contact
enemy.
range and sensor range.
At this point, you will see each enemy unit clearly.
Alright, so we can select units like this. There's this. So there's the enemy units. I already zoomed
When
in.
issuing an attack move
Alright, here it
command,
is.
you'll see a red line drawn between the selected unit and the mouse cursor.
Alright.
When this line appears broken, the selected unit cannot fire on its target. This indicates that high terrain or an obstacle
Right,
is
terrain's blocking
blocking the
it.
unit's line of fire.
That's interesting.
You will therefore have to move units around the obstacle or onto high ground in order to achieve a clear line of fire.
Mm-hmm.
Select your light attack vehicles and use them to destroy the enemy units. You can right-click an enemy unit to attack, or press A and left-click to attack move.
Alright, so we know where
To
they
command
are.
your units to attack a group of enemies, hold the control key and drag a box around the target enemy units.
Tracking hostile.
So the tracking hostile, but I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. Get to the high grounds. And then attack move.
Move and fire at will.
Here they
Strike
go.
craft taking effective fire. Hostile strike craft down.
There they go.
Receiving. Green line confirmed. Move up and be on alert.
Nailed them. I think we
Ready.
did pretty good. Oh, that looked
Select
good.
the command carrier now.
Hell
Command
yeah.
carrier has a unique power shunting system used to manage combat.
Oh
and
right,
protection
alright.
capability.
So this is like,
Add all available power to the turret network system.
alright, so we've got, right, so defensive reactive armor, defensive repair systems, weaponry turret network, and then range for anti-air, optimized turret performance.
Weapon systems online.
We've detected something. Can you confirm visual?
Enemy forces are attacking the carrier. Destroy them.
With the what? The carrier or with my other forces?
Ready. Coordinates confirmed.
I need to,
Light attack vehicle is under fire. Keep eyes out for targets. Listen up. Prepare to move. Ready with point defense. Strike craft.
With the right power distribution, the command carrier can hold its own in combat.
oh yeah.
Hold.
A lot of turrets. Lots of turrets.
Selecting a unit and pressing the move or attack move command button displays the terrain overlay.
Alright.
While the terrain overlay is active, some terrain is color shaded to display its relative height.
Alright.
The three colors of the terrain overlay represent high ground, low ground, and neutral ground. When a unit takes position on the high ground, it deals extra damage when attacking units on lower terrain.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy have deployed armored units. You'll have to find another way to defeat this enemy force. Railguns are most effective when firing
Right.
from long range. However, they can be easily
Right.
overwhelmed
The
by
the
short-range
light
skycraft, like
light
attack
takes down
vehicles.
railguns. Railguns take down armored. Armor takes down
Tracking
light.
hostiles.
Use armor to sight vehicles. Use railguns to destroy armor to sight. Okay. Alright. So wait,
Assign
hold on.
Control, holding the control key and pressing a number key.
Right, okay. So is there a way specifically to go between units? I think if you double click,
Select the units in a control group by
Right. LAVs, railguns. Railguns. This teaches you the
Use
whole
the boost
thing.
ability on your light attack vehicles to intercept the enemy.
Alright, so here we
Select the
go.
light attack vehicles and left-click the boost ability button. Then
Right.
issue a move command.
So the light attack vehicles are destroying the railguns. The armored assault
As vehicle crews score kills in
LAVs
combat, they'll earn veterancy.
and the light.
Veterancy improves combat ability.
These are also light. Where am I?
To see
In
veterancy,
the railguns.
select a vehicle and mouse over the ability button in the lower right corner of the command panel.
Wait, what?
Veteran units also have a veterancy badge.
Oh, there's the rank.
Visible on their health bar in the main game viewpoint.
Okay, armored assault's gonna be
Repair and
2.
preserve veteran units.
Light.
When your forces are outnumbered,
Light
veteran
attack.
troops can turn the tide of battle.
Alright, so these guys are gonna
Control
be
group
1.
designated.
Strike
These
copy.
guys are gonna be
Group 2
2.
assigned.
Armor, go ahead.
Armored assault is 3.
Control group 3 designated.
Railgun
Control group
is
4 designated.
4. Okay.
Lock down.
Alright, so. Right, so there's the LAVs. Okay, so. Armored assault goes after LAVs.
Armor ready. Time to clear out. Be
Alright,
ready to engage.
the railguns are going after armored. Oops.
Hostile
Whoops.
detector. Visual
Whoops.
unconfirmed.
Nope. Everybody
Let's clear
go.
out. Be ready to engage. Go ahead.
Okay, the railguns go after the armored
Armor
assault.
vehicle taking effective fire. Keep eyes out for targets.
And then the railguns are gonna get taken out
Ready,
by,
set, receiving. Hostile sighted. Arm the cannons and push up. Reading.
and then we'll save these guys for backup.
Hostile strike craft down. For orders. Get us underway.
No,
Move into my line of fire. Roger. Strike craft taking effective fire.
right. So here's our strike craft taking
Keep eyes
going
out
after
for hostile
them.
Armor incoming. Railgun
And the
reading.
railguns here.
Keep eyes out for targets.
So the railguns should take out the armored assault vehicles
Hostile range craft
pretty
destroyed.
niftily.
Alert. LAV down. Line confirmed. Enemy armor disabled. Readjust target.
Still going after this guy.
Go for carrier.
There we go. Launch interceptor strike.
The enemy has deployed a mixed attack force. No single unit type will excel at destroying this target.
Vehicle is taking fire.
However, aircraft can attack this force with impunity.
Reading for
Select the command carrier to launch aircraft.
Wait, let me get everyone back.
Launch aircraft by selecting the carrier and clicking the launch ability button.
Alright, so these guys are just buying time.
Left-click a target location to launch your aircraft. While deployed, aircraft can be selected and issued commands just like other vehicles.
orders are to move.
Once their ammunition is depleted, aircraft will automatically return to the command carrier to reload and repair.
There we go.
Vector dialed in.
Push back. Fire. Keep moving.
So we're gonna send the light attack just to
Alert, light attack
distract.
vehicle destroyed. Op ready. Armor is en route. A railgun is taking effective fire. We're cleared to push up. Go for ranged. On our way. Time to clear out. Be ready to engage. Strike craft destroyed. For contact.
We're the
Got hostile on sensor.
we're still building
Visual.
stuff.
Go for armor. Alert. Railgun. down.
Where's
For
the
hostile. This is the captain.
launch
Strike
interceptors?
fighter approach vector dialed
Enemy
in.
railgun eliminate attack.
I guess I did it. Oh, here
Excellent
they go.
work. You have completed the tutorial.
Alright, yeah.
You're ready to explore the vast deserts of Kharak.
Even though everything's moving very slow and deliberately, it still feels high stress, which I like. Oh, should I just be clicking the start button? I want to get the whole beginning. Where's my whole intro? Is this it? Okay, here we go. Awesome.
Our planet
This voice actress is great.
is dying. The desert grows with every passing year. The world is at war. But there is hope. An object has been detected deep within the Great Banded Desert.
She's really great.
It has been called the Jiraki object, the primary
Right, the
anomaly.
primary anomaly.
We believe
Just like
it may
Neo.
hold the key to our salvation. An expedition to retrieve it is being prepared.
And they don't feed you too much information about how they settled on this as the big one. Sort of revealed. This is a game that looks like it has very little story. And it gets much deeper than it looks about halfway through. I just wish they did more of these 2D watercolor type animations. They look great. This is a classic image. Rachel, I believe the only named character in the it's just like Matt Damon in The Martian underneath his vehicle to stay cool. There she goes. So the carrier is the giant production and research enormous tank that also has major firepower, but Rachel's science vehicle is what moves the plot along and does the sort of important story stuff. This looks great. This looks 60 FPS. Just enough detail on the rover. This is so cool. It's almost like if you were playing like Surviving Mars and you got lost and had your own adventure. So this is a type of vehicle that you have others of, but hers is obviously bigger, more modified. It's got an EMP, it's got weapons.
Rachel, we need that control module hooked up before we launch, and we don't have a lot of time.
Understood. Clearance to approach?
You're clear. Gate 5.
Alright, volume sounds pretty good. Epsilon base. This is great. The launching of the desert carrier is spectacular.
Gaalsien attacks have been launched against multiple coalition bases. The northern frontier is under attack. The launch of our expedition carrier, the Kiith, has been accelerated.
This is the captain of the Sajuuk carrier Kiith. All crews, hangar 5.
Right.
Stand by to initiate rollout.
Right, so there's the captain, and then the other guy is like the overall commander, maybe? Who cares?
Loading control module now. Stand by.
I mean, she's got that strong, but a little scratchy mid. You know, almost a little deep voice that sounds both strong and badass, but also scared and sensitive. Great voice acting.
Shutter test green.
I mean, there's really not that many lines in the game.
Get CENTCOM up. See if they have any new reports to share on the current AO.
I mean, you know, in 2016, this game looks maybe better than the later Command & Conquer games in some ways, but it's pretty basic. But with the desert and with the design of the vehicles, everything's so practical, and
Fleet manager online.
there we go.
Resource control system online. Unit status.
Right, so she's also setting up
Command system online.
the command carrier before she heads. What's cool is she stays outside the carrier in her own
All
little
control
vehicle,
systems successfully installed and online.
in a lot of danger throughout.
Rachel, redeploy to your base runner.
Right, oh, the
Copy
base
that.
runner, that's what it's called.
Attention all stations. This is fleet intelligence for the expedition carrier Kiith. I will be issuing all mission objectives through this channel. Before
Alright,
departure,
here we go.
we need to run essential tests on our key capabilities.
Alright, here we go. Carrier prep 1.
Fleet operations, is your channel clear?
Affirmative.
Here's
I will
Rachel's
be
thing.
providing
Looks
all
awesome.
non-critical updates
Looks
on
awesome.
unit production, research, resource salvaging,
Alright,
and all
there,
carrier systems.
there's
through
a
this
support
channel.
cruiser.
Copy that. Stand by to initiate production test.
Cruiser reading.
First, deploy a salvager from the command carrier Kiith.
What do we have here? Light attack vehicles, salvagers. Deploy a salvager.
PC, go ahead.
Basic vehicle construction. Alright, yeah, it's a much different menu than in other real-time strategy games. Resourcer, 150, basic economic work. So this is the rally point, I believe. Yep.
Salvager online.
Stand by to commence resource test.
Alright, so Rachel's always going to be one. We'll make the
Order
salvager
to
two.
gather nearby resources located here.
CU's identified. Proceed to site.
Yeah, auto salvages with the right click, just what you want. Now you have to go back to base to deliver them.
The Kiith
Then he
support
goes back.
cruiser has suffered a mechanical failure and requires immediate repairs before departure.
Alright, support cruiser. Oh, Rachel repairs it. Awesome.
Use your base runner to repair the support cruiser located here.
Get that unit back online. Move.
Yeah, get that unit back online. Oh, she had to back up and... Wait, what? What's she doing? Get over here.
That unit is down. Get it back up and running.
That was weird. I think I clicked stop because I'm trying to use the...
Initiating repairs.
Alright, here's the repair. Blue light, looks great. Salvager got all the stuff.
Repairs
Alright.
completed.
Is this
Good work,
the honor guard going out ahead?
Stand by for combat test. In order to produce combat vehicles, we will need to invest time and resources in upgrading our tech. The first step is to upgrade the Kiith's advanced manufacturing facilities. Once that is done, we will be able to build light attack vehicles.
Carrier here.
Alright, engineering. Upgrade light attack of live fabrication. Fast moving strike vehicle, strong against targets. Unlock the light attack vehicle for fabrication. Is this what it wants me to do?
Research completed. Light attack vehicle fabrication now online.
I guess I couldn't actually make them before.
Go for Kiith.
Alright, so there it is.
3 light attack vehicles from the Kiith.
There's 3 of them. There's Rachel back here.
Awaiting orders. Light attack vehicle in service. Light attack vehicle online. Light attack vehicles ready.
Target
Alright.
drones are now ready for weapons testing.
Control group 3.
Use the light attack vehicles to target and destroy the drones located here.
Located here. Alright. So attack move. Right, so attack move you have to be careful with
On
because
our way.
you can get distracted.
Charge weapons, let's move.
But we're just going straight at him here. So these vehicles don't have to actually stop or slow down to be effective.
Receiving. Strike copy.
Alright, that wasn't too hard.
All required tests are complete. Give me a go, no-go for launch.
We going around the horn?
Go.
Bridge,
Go.
Rachel,
Science teams in place.
Rachel.
Go.
Rachel, let's go.
go. Confirm all systems go.
It's confirmed. Is there a there's a quick save, isn't there? Quick save. Control F9.
Sajuuk carrier Kiith. We are go for launch.
Switch to tag 3. SC-255.
It's not even asking me to do anything else.
We check the specs with CENTCOM and you can just bypass.
I can't even select anything else. It's just saying launch.
Do we need to shut
Oh man, let's just enjoy this base for a second though.
So no, we can't do it on the move. No, power down means no power.
Alright,
Yeah,
so
just
we're about to
making
go
sure. We'll do
through
bypass once we're
the
stopped.
big gate.
Copy.
By the way,
Let us
this
know if
ship
you
is
need
a
anything.
prototype of
Yeah,
the
we sure will.
the
255 out.
Homeworld ship, I believe. It's hinting at what they're going to gonna build with the technology they find. Alright, we're launching. Here we go.
New course chart. Confirmed. Understood.
Oh, we're going this way. Sweet.
Fire all charges and disengage locks.
This is awesome.
Doors opening. Mass ratio in line. Tracking solid. Doors at 50%. Looking good. Bring engines to speed and move out.
I guess the microing you could do is cycling units and unit groups when you're like on the top of a dune, because you still will be getting shot at even though you have the advantage of
Outer doors
terrain.
full aperture and secure. She's all yours, Captain.
That's the engineer. This is the Rachel.
All stations, this is your captain.
They should have given him a name.
Today we embark on a historic mission to find and retrieve the Jiraki object.
Tim
Lying at the heart of the
Jiraki.
Great Banded Desert, deep inside Gaalsien territory.
So we have one known enemy. It turns out we have two.
On this planet.
Minor
The journey
T's,
will be perilous,
medium T's.
but if successful, we will change the course of history forever and secure our future for generations to come.
Expedition
Personal
carrier.
log, Science Officer Rachel Sajuuk, Expedition Carrier Capisi. We've launched 3 months ahead of schedule.
This
and
is how they
just in
do the
time.
lore and
The
story.
Gaalsien threat was far greater than we had anticipated. As the lead
3 months
scientist
ahead of
on
schedule,
this
wow.
expedition, I'm more convinced than ever that my brother was right. That what lies out there amongst the dunes holds the key to our survival on this planet, and possibly beyond.
Mm.
We have no choice now but to believe.
No choice now but to believe. She's great. She even did some interviews. I mean, you know, because it was never about the voice work for Homeworld, but they wanted to have one strong character in this. And she's got a brother who was onto this earlier and died, and they're gonna find him. It's pretty cool. All right. Alright, I think we'll stop and restart the stream.